I remember thinking that Tuesday was going to be perfect, the kind of perfect that only happens when you're 21 weeks pregnant and everything seems to be falling into place. I had been counting down the days to this ultrasound for weeks. Michael had promised he'd be there, had even taken the morning off work specifically for this appointment. But as I sat in our kitchen that morning, watching the clock tick past 8:30, I knew he wasn't going to make it. My phone buzzed with his text. "Running late with the Morrison account. Start without me. Love you both." The disappointment hit me like a physical weight. This was supposed to be our moment. The moment we'd finally see our baby's face clearly. Maybe find out if we were having a boy or a girl. I had imagined holding his hand, seeing his reaction when the technician showed us those tiny fingers and toes. Instead, I was staring at a text message that felt like a punch to the gut. That's when Sarah called. "Emma, honey, you sound upset. What's wrong?" Her voice was warm, concerned, everything I needed to hear in that moment. "Michael's running late. He's not going to make it to the appointment." I tried to keep the tears out of my voice, but Sarah knew me too well. "I'm coming over. We'll go together." "Sarah, you don't have to." "I want to. This is important. You shouldn't have to do this alone." 15 minutes later, Sarah was at my door with a travel mug of decaf coffee, and that reassuring smile that had gotten me through countless crises over the past 8 years of our friendship. She looked perfect as always, her auburn hair pulled back in a sleek ponytail, wearing a navy blazer that I knew cost more than my monthly grocery budget. But that was Sarah, successful, put together, always ready to drop everything for the people she loved. "Ready to meet your little one?" she asked, linking her arm through mine as we walked to her car. The drive to Dr. Martinez's office was filled with the comfortable chatter that had always characterized our friendship. Sarah talked about her latest project at the marketing firm. I complained about the morning sickness that still hadn't completely subsided, and we both speculated about whether the baby would have Michael's dark hair or my blonde curls. "I bet it's a girl," Sarah said as we pulled into the parking lot. "You've been craving sweet things constantly, and my grandmother always said that meant girls. Michael wants a boy so badly. He's already planning their first fishing trip. And if it's a girl, then he'll spoil her rotten and teach her to fish anyway." We laughed, and for a moment the disappointment about Michael's absence faded. Sarah had this way of making everything seem manageable, of filling the spaces where others fell short. Dr. Martinez's office was busy that morning, filled with women in various stages of pregnancy. Sarah found us seats in the corner, away from the chattering couples and crying toddlers. She pulled out her phone and showed me pictures from her weekend trip to Napa Valley, keeping me distracted while we waited. "Emma Rodriguez?" The nurse's voice cut through the ambient noise of the waiting room. Sarah squeezed my hand. "Ready?" The ultrasound room was dimly lit, with that familiar medical smell of disinfectant and latex. The technician, a middle-aged woman named Janet, had performed my previous ultrasounds. She was efficient but kind, always taking the time to explain what she was seeing on the screen. "How are we feeling today?" Janet asked as she helped me onto the examination table. "Excited. A little nervous. That's completely normal. Let's take a look at this baby." Sarah pulled her chair close to the examination table, her hand finding mine as Janet squirted the warm gel on my belly. The room filled with the whooshing sound of the Doppler, and then Janet began moving the transducer across my skin. "There we go," Janet said softly, adjusting the screen so we could see it clearly. And there it was, our baby, so much more defined than in the previous ultrasounds. I could see the profile clearly now. The little nose, the curve of the forehead, tiny fingers pressed against what looked like a prayer pose near the face. "Oh my God," I whispered, tears springing to my eyes immediately. "Look at that," Sarah breathed beside me, her own voice thick with emotion. "Emma, look at those little hands." Janet moved the transducer slightly, and suddenly we could see the heart, beating strong and steady. "Look, that's the heartbeat," Janet said, pointing to the flickering on the screen. "Nice and strong, about 150 beats per minute." Sarah's hand tightened around mine, and I felt her lean closer. "That's incredible. Emma, that's your baby's heart." The tears were flowing freely now. I had seen the heartbeat before, but this time felt different, more real, more formed. This was a person growing inside me, a little human with their own heartbeat, their own tiny hands and feet. "Would you like to know the gender?" Janet asked. I looked at Sarah, who nodded encouragingly. "Yes, please." Janet adjusted the angle of the transducer, moving it lower. "Well, it looks like you're having a little girl." A girl. Michael's daughter. Our daughter. "A girl," I repeated, the words feeling magical in my mouth. "We're having a girl." Sarah was crying now, too, openly and without embarrassment. "She's beautiful, Emma. She's absolutely beautiful." Janet continued the examination, measuring different parts of the baby, checking organ development, taking what felt like hundreds of pictures. Each new angle revealed something wonderful. Tiny toes, the curve of her spine, her profile, as she seemed to be sleeping peacefully. "Everything looks perfect," Janet announced after about 20 minutes. "She's measuring right on track for 21 weeks. Healthy organs, good growth. You're doing great, Mom." The appointment concluded with Janet printing out a dozen photos, each showing our daughter from different angles. I stared at them as Sarah helped me sit up, still processing the reality of what we'd just seen. "I can't believe Michael missed this," I said, looking at the clearest profile shot. "He'll be so excited when he sees the pictures," Sarah assured me. "And there will be other ultrasounds. Next time he'll make sure to be there." As we left the office, I felt this overwhelming sense of completeness. Yes, I was disappointed that Michael hadn't been there. But Sarah had filled that void perfectly. She had been present for one of the most important moments of my life, had shared in the joy and wonder of seeing our daughter for the first time. "Thank you," I told her as we walked to the car. "I know you had to rearrange your whole morning for this." "Are you kidding? I wouldn't have missed it for the world. I'm going to be Aunt Sarah to that little girl. This was just as important for me." We drove to a nearby cafe, one of those trendy places with exposed brick walls and vintage light fixtures. Sarah insisted on buying lunch, claiming we needed to celebrate. I ordered a grilled cheese sandwich and tomato soup, comfort food that seemed appropriate for the emotional high I was experiencing. "So, what are you thinking for names?" Sarah asked, settling into the booth across from me. We've been going back and forth. Michael likes traditional names. Elizabeth, Catherine, Mary. I want something a little more unique. What about both? A traditional middle name with a more modern first name? That's actually not a bad idea. I'll suggest it to him. Sarah pulled out her phone to show me something, and I watched as she scrolled through what looked like baby name websites. "I've been doing some research," she admitted with a laugh. "I'm probably more excited about this than I should be. You're going to be an amazing godmother." "Is that official?" "As official as it gets. You and Michael are the most important people in my life. Of course, I want you to be her godmother." Something flickered across Sarah's face, too quick for me to interpret. But then she smiled, that warm, familiar smile that had always made me feel understood. "I'm honored, Em. Truly." We spent the next hour making plans. Sarah suggested a baby shower at her apartment, offered to help with the nursery, even mentioned looking into the best pediatricians in the area. Her enthusiasm was infectious, and I found myself feeling more excited about the pregnancy than I had in weeks. "Michael's going to be so jealous that he missed all this," I said as we prepared to leave. "All what?" "The planning, the excitement. You're like a pregnancy fairy godmother." Sarah laughed, but there was something in her expression that I couldn't quite read. "I just want everything to be perfect for you, Em." You deserve that. The drive home was comfortable, filled with more speculation about the baby and plans for the coming months. Sarah had a way of making everything seem manageable, of turning what felt like overwhelming responsibilities into exciting adventures. "I'll call Michael as soon as I get home," I said as Sarah pulled into my driveway. "He's going to be so excited about the pictures." He should be. They're beautiful. I gathered my purse and the envelope of ultrasound photos, then leaned over to hug Sarah. "Thank you again. For everything. I don't know what I would have done without you today." "You don't have to thank me, Em. This is what friends do." As I walked toward my front door, I felt a deep sense of gratitude, not just for the healthy baby growing inside me, but for the people in my life who cared enough to show up when it mattered. Michael might have missed the ultrasound, but Sarah had been there. She had held my hand, shared in the joy, and made sure I didn't have to experience such an important moment alone. I couldn't wait to call Michael and share the news. Our daughter was healthy, beautiful, and perfect, and I had the pictures to prove it. Chapter 2. The Discovery. Later that afternoon, I found myself staring at the ultrasound photos scattered across our coffee table, still processing the reality of what I'd seen. Every few minutes, I'd pick up a different photo, studying the tiny profile, the delicate hands, the perfect curve of her spine. Our daughter. The phrase still felt surreal. Michael had been thrilled when I called him with the news. His voice had cracked when I told him we were having a girl, and he'd immediately started apologizing for missing the appointment. "I'm so sorry, Em. I should have been there. I should have—" "It's okay," I'd assured him. "Sarah was there. She took great care of me. I owe her dinner, a really expensive dinner. She'd probably settle for you being on time for the next appointment. There won't be a next time. I promise." Now, as I sat in our living room waiting for him to come home, I felt a deep contentment. The afternoon sun was streaming through our windows, casting everything in a warm golden glow. I had one hand resting on my belly, finally starting to show a real bump, and the other holding my favorite ultrasound photo. My phone buzzed with a text from Sarah. "How did Michael react to the news?" "He cried. Happy tears. Thank you again for today." "My pleasure. Get some rest. You've had a big day." I set my phone aside and closed my eyes, letting myself drift into that peaceful state that had become more common as my pregnancy progressed. I was nearly asleep when I heard Sarah's car in the driveway. I opened my eyes, confused. Sarah had left an hour ago, and we hadn't made any plans for her to return. Through the window, I could see her sitting in her car, talking on her phone. She seemed agitated, her free hand gesturing as she spoke. A few minutes later, she knocked on my door. "I'm sorry to bother you again," she said when I opened it. "But I think I left my phone charger in your purse. I have a work call in an hour and my battery is almost dead." "Of course. Come in." I retrieved my purse from the kitchen counter and started digging through it. Sarah's charger wasn't there. "Are you sure you left it in here?" I asked. "I thought I did." "Maybe it's in the car." She looked genuinely worried. "Emma, I hate to ask, but could I borrow your charger? I know we have the same phone. I can run out and get it from my car, make my call, and bring it right back." "Don't be ridiculous. You don't need to make a special trip. Just use it here." "Are you sure? I don't want to impose." "Sarah, you held my hand through one of the most important moments of my life today. The least I can do is let you use my phone charger." She smiled, but it seemed forced. "Thanks, Em. I really appreciate it." I handed her my phone, already plugged into the charger on the kitchen counter. "Take your time. I'll be in the living room looking at baby pictures." "Your phone is locked," she called out a few minutes later. "The passcode is 0821, Michael's birthday." I settled back onto the couch, picking up another ultrasound photo. This one showed our daughter's foot, perfectly formed tiny toes that made my heart skip. I was lost in imagining painting those little toenails someday, when Sarah's voice drifted in from the kitchen. "No, she doesn't suspect anything," she was saying, her voice low but not quite quiet enough. The ultrasound went perfectly. She was so emotional. She wasn't paying attention to anything else. I froze. Something in her tone made my stomach clench. I know. I felt terrible lying to her, but what choice did I have? A pause. She actually asked me to be the godmother. Can you believe that? My blood ran cold. Who was she talking to? And what was she lying about? Of course I said yes. What else could I do? We'll figure out the rest later. I stood up slowly, my heart beginning to race. This couldn't be what it sounded like. Sarah was my best friend. She had been nothing but supportive throughout my pregnancy. She's resting now. Michael won't be home for another hour. Another pause. I know. I miss you too. The words hit me like a physical blow. Miss you too. The intimacy in her voice, the secretive tone, the mention of Michael's schedule. It was all wrong. I walked quietly toward the kitchen, my bare feet silent on the hardwood floor. "I have to go," Sarah was saying. "But I'll see you tomorrow. Emma will never know." I stopped just outside the kitchen doorway, my hand pressed against the wall for support. My mind was racing, trying to process what I'd heard, trying to find an innocent explanation that would make sense. "Sarah," I called out, my voice surprisingly steady. "Just a minute, Em. Almost done here." I heard her end the call, then the sound of her unplugging the charger. When she appeared in the doorway, she looked completely normal, composed, like she hadn't just been having a conversation that turned my world upside down. "All done," she said brightly. "Thanks so much for letting me use your phone. Who were you talking to?" "Just work stuff. The Morrison account, actually. Same thing that kept Michael busy this morning." The Morrison account. The same account Michael had mentioned in his text. The coincidence felt too convenient, too calculated. "I should probably get going," Sarah continued. "You look tired and you need your rest. Actually, I was hoping you could stay a little longer. I wanted to show you something." Sarah glanced at her watch. "I really should. Please. Just for a few more minutes." She hesitated, then nodded. "Of course. What did you want to show me?" I led her back to the living room, to the coffee table covered with ultrasound photos. But instead of picking up one of the pictures, I sat down on the couch and patted the cushion beside me. "Sit with me. I want to talk about today." Sarah sat down, but she seemed tense, like she was ready to bolt at any moment. "I've been thinking about what you said earlier, about being honored to be the godmother. I meant it, Em. I really did. I know you did. And I've been thinking about how lucky I am to have you in my life, especially now, with the baby coming." Sarah's expression softened slightly. "I feel lucky too. This friendship means everything to me." "Does it?" Something in my tone must have alerted her, because her posture shifted slightly. "Of course it does. Why would you even ask that?" "I don't know. I guess I've been feeling like there are things you're not telling me." "Oh, what kind of things?" I studied her face, looking for any sign of the woman I'd heard on the phone. "Things about Michael." The color drained from her face, but she recovered quickly. "What about Michael? How long have you two been talking?" "Em, I don't know what you're getting at, but—" "How long, Sarah?" She stood up abruptly. "I think there's been some kind of misunderstanding. I should go. Sit down." "Emma, I really need to—" "Sit down." The authority in my voice surprised both of us. Sarah slowly lowered herself back onto the couch, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. "I heard your phone call," I said simply. "I don't know what you think you heard, but I heard you say that I don't suspect anything. I heard you say that you felt terrible lying to me. I heard you say that you miss someone." I paused, watching her face. "I heard you mention Michael's schedule." Sarah's mouth opened and closed, but no words came out. How long? I asked again. Em, please, let me explain. How long have you been sleeping with my husband? The question hung in the air between us like a toxic cloud. Sarah's face went through a series of expressions: denial, panic, resignation, and finally, something that looked almost like relief. 3 months, she whispered. 3 months. I was barely 18 weeks pregnant when it started. I had been dealing with morning sickness, fatigue, and all the uncertainties of early pregnancy, while my husband and best friend were beginning their affair. 3 months. I repeated, my voice hollow. Emma, I never meant for it to happen. It just... Don't. I held up my hand. Don't you dare say it just happened. Affairs don't just happen, Sarah. People make choices. You're right. I made a choice. We both did. While I was pregnant. Yes. While I was buying baby clothes and painting the nursery and planning our future. Yes. I felt something break inside me. Some fundamental trust that I'd built my life around. Where? What? Where do you meet? Where do you go to betray me? Sarah's eyes filled with tears. Em, please don't do this to yourself. Where? My apartment. Hotels. Sometimes when you're at work, he comes over during his lunch break. The detail felt like a knife. Michael taking time out of his workday to meet Sarah, to touch her, to be intimate with her, while I was at my job wondering what to make for dinner. Is that where he was this morning? When he missed the ultrasound? Sarah's silence was answer enough. He was with you, while I was looking at pictures of our daughter, for the first time. Emma, I'm so sorry. I wanted to be there for you today. I meant that. Despite everything else, I wanted to be there. Despite everything else. I laughed, but it came out bitter. You held my hand while I saw our baby's heartbeat, knowing that you're sleeping with her father, knowing that you're destroying her family before she's even born. It's not like that. Then what is it like, Sarah? Explain it to me. She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand, smearing her mascara. I love him. Those 3 words hit me harder than anything else she could have said. Not, it was a mistake, or, it didn't mean anything. She loved him. And he loves you? He says he does. But he's still with me, still married to me, still pretending to be excited about our baby. It's complicated. Is it? Because it seems pretty simple to me. You're both liars and cheaters, and I'm the fool who trusted you. I stood up, suddenly needing distance from her. The ultrasound photos were still scattered on the coffee table, and I gathered them up, holding them against my chest like a shield. I think you should leave, I said. Emma, please. Can we talk about this? Can we work through this? Work through this? I stared at her in disbelief. Sarah, you've been having an affair with my husband for 3 months. You comforted me through my pregnancy while you were sleeping with the father of my child. You held my hand today while I saw my daughter's heartbeat, knowing that you're planning to destroy her family. What exactly is there to work through? I know how it looks, but... How it looks is that my best friend and my husband have been lying to me for months. How it looks is that while I was worried about morning sickness and doctor's appointments, you two were planning secret meetings. How it looks is that I can't trust anyone. Sarah stood up, her purse clutched in her hands. I know you hate me right now, and I understand that. But Emma, please don't make any rash decisions. Think about the baby. Think about your marriage. My marriage? I laughed again, that same bitter sound. What marriage? The one where my husband sleeps with my best friend? The one where I'm the only person who doesn't know what's really going on? He loves you, Em. He's just confused. Don't you dare try to justify this. Don't you dare try to minimize what you've done. Sarah walked toward the door, then turned back. What are you going to do? I don't know. Are you going to tell him that you know? I looked at her, this woman who had been my friend for 8 years, who had been in my wedding, who had held my hand through family crises and breakups and celebrations. This woman who had been sleeping with my husband while I carried his child. "I don't owe you any explanations about what I'm going to do," I said. "I don't owe you anything. Emma, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. No, you're not. You're sorry you got caught. If I hadn't overheard that phone call, you'd still be lying to me. You'd still be planning secret meetings with my husband while pretending to be excited about my pregnancy." Sarah's face crumpled. "That's not true. Isn't it? Were you planning to tell me? Ever?" Her silence was answer enough. "Get out," I said quietly. "Get out of my house and don't come back." Sarah hesitated at the door. "Em, please, don't let this destroy everything. Don't let this destroy your family." "I'm not the one destroying my family, Sarah. You and Michael already did that." After she left, I sat on my couch in the silence, still holding the ultrasound photos. The afternoon sun had shifted and the room was cooler now, shadows lengthening across the floor. I looked down at the clearest profile picture of our daughter, her perfect little nose and peaceful expression. 3 hours ago, I had been planning her nursery, picking out names, imagining Michael teaching her to ride a bike. Now I was wondering if her father would still be living in this house when she was born. My phone buzzed with a text from Michael. "Can't wait to see the pictures. Home in an hour. Love you." I stared at the message, at those 3 words that had once meant everything to me. Love you. Did he love me? Or was that just another lie, another performance to maintain the illusion of our marriage? I set the phone aside without responding and closed my eyes, one hand resting on my belly. Whatever happened next, whatever decisions I had to make, I would make them for both of us, for me and my daughter, because apparently we were the only people in this situation who deserved the truth. Chapter 3. The Confrontation. The hour passed like a lifetime. I sat in our living room watching the shadows grow longer, holding those ultrasound photos like talismans. Every few minutes I'd pick up my phone to call Michael, to demand an explanation, to scream at him for what he'd done. But each time I'd set it back down. I needed to see his face. I needed to watch him lie to me one more time before I decided what to do with the rest of my life. When I heard his key in the lock, my heart started racing. 21 weeks pregnant, and I was about to confront my husband about his affair with my best friend. The irony wasn't lost on me. This morning I'd been worried about whether he'd approve of the baby's name. Now I was wondering if he'd still be here to use it. "Em, I'm home." His voice carried that familiar warmth, that tone that had once made me feel safe and loved. Now it just sounded like another performance. "In here," I called back, my voice steadier than I felt. He appeared in the doorway, loosening his tie, that tired but happy expression he wore after successful workdays. He was still handsome at 32, still the man I'd fallen in love with in college. Dark hair starting to thin just slightly at the temples, kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses, the same smile that had convinced me to marry him 5 years ago. "How was the appointment?" "I'm so sorry I missed it. The Morrison account was a nightmare, but I think we finally—" He stopped mid-sentence, his eyes taking in my expression. "What's wrong?" "Sit down, Michael." Something in my tone made him pause. "Em, what's going on? Is everything okay with the baby?" "The baby is fine. Sit down." He sat on the edge of the armchair across from me, his body language tense. "You're scaring me. What happened?" I picked up one of the ultrasound photos and held it out to him. "We're having a daughter." His face transformed, that genuine joy I'd imagined seeing this morning finally appearing. "A daughter?" Really. He reached for the photo, and I watched his expression soften as he studied it. "She's beautiful, Em. She's perfect." "Yes, she is. I can't believe I missed this. I can't believe I wasn't there to see her with you." "Where were you, Michael?" "I told you. The Morrison account. We had this crisis with the presentation and... Where were you? The repetition of the question seemed to register with him. He looked up from the photo, his eyes meeting mine. I was at the office. Why are you asking me like that? Because I know you're lying. The words hung between us like a blade. Michael's face went through a series of micro-expressions. Confusion, panic, calculation. I watched him decide how to play this, watched him choose his strategy. I don't know what you think you know, but I know about Sarah. He went very still. The ultrasound photo fluttered to the floor between us. What about Sarah? I know you've been sleeping with her. That's... He started to shake his head, started to form a denial, but something in my expression stopped him. How? That's not true. Or, I don't know what you're talking about. Just, how? She used my phone to make a call. I heard her talking to you. Michael closed his eyes, his head dropping into his hands. I can explain. Can you? Can you explain how you've been having an affair with my best friend for 3 months while I've been carrying your child? It's not what you think. Then what is it, Michael? Because what I think is that you've been lying to me for months. What I think is that while I was dealing with morning sickness and doctor's appointments, you were planning secret meetings with Sarah. What I think is that you chose to be with her this morning, instead of coming to see your daughter's ultrasound. You're right. The admission came out as a whisper. You're absolutely right. I had been prepared for more lies, more denials. His immediate confession caught me off guard. I was with her this morning, he continued. I was supposed to meet her for coffee, just coffee. And it turned into... more. I lost track of time. I know that's not an excuse. I know there is no excuse. 3 months? Yes. While I was pregnant? Yes. In our house? No. Never in our house. Where then? Her apartment. Hotels. Sometimes I'd say I was working late, but I was with her. Each detail felt like another cut. How many times? Please don't do this to yourself. How many times, Michael? I don't know. A lot. Too many. I stood up, needing to move, needing to put distance between us. Do you love her? It's complicated. Do you love her? I think so. Yes. The honesty was brutal. Part of me had been hoping he'd say it was just sex, just a mistake, just something that had gotten out of hand. But he loved her. He loved my best friend. Do you love me? Yes. How can you love both of us? I don't know. I know it doesn't make sense. I know it's not fair to either of you. Fair? I laughed, but it came out sharp and bitter. Michael, fair would have been telling me you were unhappy in our marriage before you started sleeping with someone else. Fair would have been not getting me pregnant while you were having an affair. Fair would have been not missing our daughter's ultrasound to be with your mistress. You're right. You're absolutely right. Stop saying that. Stop agreeing with me. Fight back. Defend yourself. Tell me why you did this. I don't know why I did it. That's not good enough. Michael stood up, running his hands through his hair. I felt like we were drifting apart. Like we were becoming roommates instead of lovers. And then you got pregnant, and you were so tired all the time, and I felt like I was losing you. So you decided to sleep with Sarah. It wasn't planned. It just happened. No, it didn't just happen. You made a choice. Every time you met her, every time you lied to me, every time you came home and pretended everything was normal, those were choices. You're right. Stop saying that. What do you want me to say, Em? That I'm sorry? I am. That I regret it? I do. That I wish I could take it back? I would if I could. Would you? Would you really take it back? What do you mean? If you could go back 3 months and make a different choice, would you? Or would you still choose her? Michael was quiet for a long moment. I don't know. The honesty was devastating. At least when he was lying, I could hate him cleanly. This brutal truth was harder to process. What do you want, Michael? Do you want to leave me for Sarah? Do you want to try to work on our marriage? Do you want to keep lying to me and hope I never find out? I want to do the right thing. What is the right thing? I don't know. I walked to the window, looking out at our neighborhood. The same houses I'd looked at that morning. But everything felt different now. The couple next door was working in their garden. The kids across the street were playing basketball. Normal life continuing while mine fell apart. I'm pregnant, Michael. 21 weeks pregnant with your daughter. What exactly do you think the right thing is? I think I need to end it with Sarah. I need to end it with Sarah. And then what? We pretend it never happened? We go to marriage counseling and work through this? We raise our daughter together and hope she never finds out that her father cheated on her mother while she was in the womb. I don't know. I'm willing to try if you are. Are you? Are you willing to never see Sarah again? Are you willing to answer any question I ask about the affair? Are you willing to live with the fact that I may never trust you again? Yes, even if it means giving up the woman you love? Michael flinched. It means doing what's right for our family. That's not what I asked. Yes, even if it means giving up the woman I love. I turned back to him. Do you think I'm stupid, Michael? What? Do you think I'm so naive that I don't understand what you're offering me? You're offering to stay with me out of obligation. You're offering to sacrifice your happiness for duty. You're offering to give up the woman you love to stay with the woman you got pregnant. That's not... It is. It's exactly what you're offering. And you know what? I don't want it. Em, please, let me try to make this right. You can't make this right. You can't undo 3 months of lies. You can't undo the fact that you chose to be with her this morning instead of coming to see our daughter's ultrasound. You can't undo the fact that you love her. So what are you saying? I'm saying that I deserve better than a husband who stays with me out of obligation. I'm saying that our daughter deserves better than a father who resents her for keeping him from the woman he really wants to be with. I wouldn't resent her, wouldn't you? 5 years from now, when Sarah is married to someone else, and you're still here changing diapers and helping with homework, are you going to be able to look at our daughter and not think about what you gave up for her? Michael didn't answer, which was answer enough. I want you to leave, I said quietly. What? I want you to pack a bag and leave. Tonight. Em, please, don't make any decisions right now. You're emotional. You're hurt. Let's take some time to think about this. I've had 3 hours to think about it. That's 3 hours more than you gave me before you started sleeping with my best friend. Where am I supposed to go? I don't care. Go to Sarah's. Go to a hotel. Go to your brother's. I don't care where you go. But I want you out of this house. What about the baby? What about her? I want to be part of her life. I want to be her father. Then you should have thought about that before you started sleeping with Sarah. Em, please. I made a mistake. I made a terrible mistake. But I want to fix it. I want to be the husband you deserve, and the father she deserves. No, you don't. You want to do what's expected of you. You want to do what looks right from the outside. But you love her, Michael. You love Sarah. And I won't spend the rest of my life competing with that. You're not competing with anyone. Aren't I? Every time we make love, will you be thinking about her? Every time we fight, will you be wishing you were with her instead? Every time our daughter cries, in the middle of the night, will you be wondering what your life would have been like if you'd chosen her instead of duty? I don't know. At least you're being honest now. I walked to the closet and pulled out a suitcase, setting it on our bed. Pack whatever you need for a few days. We'll figure out the rest later. What about the house? What about it? It's in both our names. I pay half the mortgage. Then you can keep paying half the mortgage. I'm not trying to punish you financially, Michael. I'm trying to save what's left of my dignity. And our marriage. What marriage? The one where you've been lying to me for 3 months. The one where you missed our daughter's ultrasound to be with your mistress. The one where you loved someone else. I love you too. Not enough. The words hung between us like a verdict. Michael sat heavily on the bed, his shoulders slumped. I'm sorry, Em. I'm so sorry. I know you are. I'm sorry too. For what? For not being enough. For not being the woman you wanted. For not keeping you happy. This isn't your fault, isn't it? If I'd been a better wife, if I'd been more attentive, if I'd been less tired, less focused on the pregnancy. Stop. This isn't about you. This is about me making terrible choices. Why her, Michael? Why Sarah? I don't know. That's not good enough. She made me feel like I was interesting again. Like I was worth pursuing. Like I was more than just a husband and soon-to-be father. I made you feel boring. Not boring, just settled. Like we were going through the motions. We were building a life together. We were preparing for our daughter. I thought that's what you wanted. I did want it. I do want it. But you want her more. I don't know. Yes, you do. You know exactly what you want. You're just too much of a coward to admit it. Michael flinched at the word coward, but he didn't deny it. Pack your bag, I said. I'm tired and I need you to leave. Em, please. Can we talk about this more tomorrow? Can we try to work through this? There's nothing to work through. You love her. You chose her. The only reason you're here right now is because I'm pregnant and leaving me looks bad. But I'm not going to trap you in a marriage you don't want. I do want this marriage. No, you don't. You want the idea of this marriage. You want to be the kind of man who does the right thing. But you don't want me. Not really. Not the way you want her. That's not true. Then why did you sleep with her this morning instead of coming to see our daughter's ultrasound? Michael opened his mouth to answer, then closed it again. We both knew the answer. Pack your bag, I repeated. Please. He stood up slowly, moving to the dresser. I watched him pull out shirts, underwear, socks, the mundane items that make up a life. It felt surreal, watching my husband pack to leave me while I was pregnant with his child. What are you going to tell people? He asked as he folded a shirt. I don't know. The truth, I suppose. What about your family? Your parents? They'll be disappointed. But not as disappointed as I am. What about Sarah? What about her? Are you going to tell people about the affair? I don't know. Does it matter? It matters to me. It matters to her. Funny how your concern for her reputation is more important than your concern for our marriage. That's not what I meant, isn't it? You're worried about Sarah's reputation. You're worried about how this will affect her. But you weren't worried about how the affair would affect me. I was worried about you. No, you weren't. If you'd been worried about me, you would have ended it the first time. You would have come clean months ago. You would have chosen me over her. I did choose you. I'm here. You're here because you got caught. If Sarah hadn't made that phone call, if I hadn't overheard her, you'd still be lying to me. You'd still be planning secret meetings with her while pretending to be excited about our daughter. That's not true. It is true. You had 3 months to choose me, Michael. 3 months to end the affair and commit to our marriage. But you didn't. You chose her every single time. I was confused. You were selfish. The accusation hit home. Michael's face crumpled, and for a moment I saw the man I'd married. The man who used to bring me coffee in bed on Sunday mornings, who cried when we found out I was pregnant, who promised to love me forever. I don't know how to fix this, he said quietly. You can't fix it. That's what you need to understand. You can't undo 3 months of lies. You can't undo the fact that you love her. You can't undo the choice you made this morning. So that's it? 5 years of marriage, and it's just over. You ended our marriage 3 months ago. I'm just acknowledging it. What about the baby? What about her? I want to be part of her life. Then be part of her life. But you can't be part of mine. Not anymore. Em, please. I know I screwed up. I know I hurt you. But can't we try to work through this? Can't we try to save our marriage? Save it for what? So you can resent me for keeping you from the woman you love. So I can spend the rest of my life wondering if you're thinking about her when you're with me. So our daughter can grow up in a house full of lies and resentment. It wouldn't be like that. It would be exactly like that. You love her, Michael. You love Sarah. And I won't spend the rest of my life pretending that doesn't matter. I love you too. Not enough to be faithful to me. Not enough to choose me over her. Not enough to be honest with me. I'm being honest now. Now that you got caught. Now that you don't have a choice. Michael zipped up his suitcase. The sound final and terrible. What happens now? Now you leave. Tomorrow we start figuring out the logistics. Lawyers, custody arrangements, dividing assets. All the ugly practical stuff that comes after love dies. Our love isn't dead. Yes, it is. It died the first time you slept with her. It died this morning when you chose to be with her instead of coming to see our daughter's ultrasound. It died when you decided that your happiness was more important than our marriage. I never meant for it to happen. But you let it happen, again and again and again. You chose to let it happen. I'm sorry. I know you are. I'm sorry too. For what? For not being enough. For not being the woman you wanted. For not keeping you happy. This isn't about you not being enough. This is about me being weak and selfish and stupid. Then why did you do it? I don't know. I honestly don't know. That's the problem, Michael. You don't know. You don't know why you did it. You don't know if you'd do it again. You don't know what you want. And I can't build a life with someone who doesn't know what they want. I want you. I want our daughter. I want our family. No, you don't. You want the idea of us. You want to be the kind of man who has a family. But you don't want the reality of it. The reality is commitment, sacrifice, choosing the same person every day, even when it's hard. And you've already proven you can't do that. I can change. Can you? Can you promise me that you'll never see Sarah again? Can you promise me that you'll never contact her, never think about her, never wonder what your life would have been like if you'd chosen her instead? I can try. Try isn't good enough. Not for me. Not for our daughter. What do you want me to say? I want you to say that you love her more than you love me. I want you to say that you chose her over our family. I want you to say that you're leaving because you want to be with her, not because I'm kicking you out. I can't say that. Why not? Because it's not true. It is true. You just don't want to admit it. I don't know what I want. Then figure it out. But figure it out somewhere else. Michael picked up his suitcase and walked toward the door. At the threshold, he turned back. I do love you, Em. I know you don't believe me, but I do. I believe you. I just don't think you love me enough. Enough for what? Enough to choose me. Enough to be faithful to me. Enough to be the husband I deserve. And the father our daughter deserves. I want to be that man. Then be that man. But be him somewhere else. After he left, I sat in our bedroom for a long time, staring at the empty space where his suitcase had been. The room felt different without him in it. Not better, not worse, just different. Emptier, but also somehow cleaner. I picked up one of the ultrasound photos from the coffee table, the one that showed our daughter's profile most clearly. In just a few months, she'd be here. She'd be looking to me to provide stability, security, love. And I'd do it. I'd give her everything I had. But first, I had to figure out how to put my own life back together. Chapter 4. the aftermath. 3 weeks had passed since Michael left, and I was beginning to understand that grief wasn't linear. Some days I woke up feeling strong, determined, ready to build a new life for myself and my daughter. Other days I could barely get out of bed, overwhelmed by the magnitude of what I'd lost. Not just my husband, but my best friend. My sense of security. My faith in my own judgment. Today was one of the bad days. I sat in my obstetrician's office, surrounded by glowing couples holding hands, comparing ultrasound photos, discussing nursery themes. Dr. Martinez had asked about Michael's absence. He'd been to every previous appointment, and I'd given her the rehearsed explanation I'd been using for weeks. We're having some difficulties right now. He's staying somewhere else. The words felt hollow, inadequate to describe the complete devastation of my life. But what else could I say? That my husband had been sleeping with my best friend while I was pregnant. That I'd discovered their affair the same day I found out I was having a daughter. That I was now facing single motherhood at 24 weeks pregnant. "Everything looks perfect," Dr. Martinez said, moving the ultrasound wand across my growing belly. "She's measuring right on track. Good heart rate. Active movement. You're doing great, Emma." But I didn't feel like I was doing great. I felt like I was drowning. "Any questions for me today?" she asked, printing out new photos. "What about stress? Is it bad for the baby if I'm going through a difficult time?" "Some stress is normal, especially during major life changes. But if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're having trouble sleeping or eating, we should talk about ways to manage that." "I'm not sleeping well." "Tell me about that." I lie awake thinking about everything. About what I'm going to do. About how I'm going to raise her alone. About whether I made the right choices. "Are you having thoughts of harming yourself or the baby?" "No. Never. I would never hurt her." "Good. That's what I need to hear." "But Emma, you're not alone. You have family, friends, a support system." I almost laughed. Family, yes. My parents had been shocked but supportive when I'd told them about the separation. My sister had offered to come stay with me when the baby was born. But friends. Sarah had been my closest friend, and she was gone. My other friendships had been casual, superficial, the kind of relationships you maintain through social media and occasional dinners. None of them were equipped to handle something like this. "I'm worried about the logistics," I admitted. "About how I'm going to manage everything alone. Have you considered counseling? For yourself, I mean. Not couples counseling, but individual therapy to help you process what you're going through." "I've thought about it. I can give you some referrals. Therapists who specialize in pregnancy, divorce, major life transitions. That would be helpful." As I left the appointment, I felt the familiar weight of loneliness settling over me. In my car, I sat staring at the new ultrasound photos, studying my daughter's face. She was so much more defined now, so clearly a person. In the clearest shot, she appeared to be sucking her thumb, peaceful and content in the only home she'd ever known. "I'm sorry," I whispered to the photo. "I'm sorry your daddy won't be living with us when you're born. I'm sorry I couldn't keep our family together." My phone buzzed with a text from Michael. "How was the appointment? Is everything okay?" I stared at the message, my emotions churning. He'd been texting regularly since he left, asking about the baby, about my health, about practical matters. I'd been responding minimally, giving him the information he needed, but nothing more. "Everything's fine. She's healthy. Can I see the pictures?" I hesitated. We hadn't seen each other since the night he left. He'd been staying at his brother's house, and we'd handled everything through text messages and phone calls. Our lawyer had advised minimal contact while we worked through the divorce proceedings. "I'll email them to you. Thank you. I was wondering, could we talk? In person? There are some things I need to say." "Our lawyers said..." I know what they said. But I miss you. I miss talking to you. We have nothing to talk about. Please, just coffee, 1 hour. There are things I need to tell you." Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet him that afternoon at a neutral location. A coffee shop downtown that neither of us had been to before. As I drove there, I rehearsed what I would say, how I would maintain my composure, how I would resist the urge to fall back into old patterns. He was already there when I arrived, sitting in a corner booth, looking thinner than I remembered. His hair was longer, unkempt, and he had dark circles under his eyes. Despite everything, my heart ached seeing him like this. "Thank you for coming," he said, as I sat down across from him. "You have 1 hour. I ended it with Sarah." The words hit me like a physical blow. "When?" 2 weeks ago. I haven't spoken to her since. Why? Because I realized what I was giving up. Because I realized that I was throwing away my marriage, my family, for something that was never real. It felt real enough for 3 months. It was infatuation. It was ego. It was me being stupid and selfish and... Stop. I don't want to hear about your relationship with Sarah. I don't want to hear about why you ended it or what you learned from it. Then what do you want to hear? I want to hear about our daughter. I want to hear about custody arrangements and financial support. I want to hear about practical things. I want to come home. That's not going to happen. Em, please. I know I screwed up. I know I hurt you. But I want to fix this. I want to be the husband you deserve. You had 3 months to be the husband I deserve. You chose not to. I was confused. I was going through something, and I handled it in the worst possible way. But I'm not confused anymore. I know what I want. What do you want? I want you. I want our daughter. I want our family. You can't have me. But you can have a relationship with our daughter. What about us? What about our marriage? Our marriage is over. It doesn't have to be. Yes, it does. Michael, you don't understand. It's not just about the affair. It's about the lies. It's about the fact that you missed our daughter's ultrasound to be with another woman. It's about the fact that you let me believe I was crazy for feeling like something was wrong. It's about the fact that my best friend held my hand while I saw our baby's heartbeat, knowing she was sleeping with you. I know how horrible it was. Do you? Do you really understand what you did to me? You didn't just cheat on me. You and Sarah systematically lied to me for months. You made me doubt my own instincts. You made me feel like I was being paranoid when I sensed something was wrong. I'm sorry. Sorry isn't enough. Sorry doesn't undo 3 months of lies. Sorry doesn't undo the fact that you chose her over me every single time. I'm choosing you now. No, you're not. You're choosing the path of least resistance. You're choosing what looks right from the outside, but you're not choosing me. How can you say that? Because if you were choosing me, you would have done it 3 months ago. You would have ended the affair the first time you realized you had feelings for her. You would have come to me and said you were struggling, that you needed help, that you were tempted. But you didn't. You chose her. Again and again and again. I was wrong. Yes, you were. And now you have to live with the consequences. What about our daughter? Don't you want her to have a father? Of course I want her to have a father. But I don't want her to have a father who resents her for keeping him from the woman he really loves. I don't love Sarah anymore. Don't you? Are you sure about that? Because 2 weeks ago you were still with her. 2 weeks ago you were still choosing her over me. I ended it. Because you got caught. Because I found out. Because suddenly your comfortable double life wasn't possible anymore. That's not why. Then why? Why did you end it with her? Because I realized I was making a mistake. Because I realized I love you more than I love her. When did you realize that? When you told me to leave. When I saw how much I'd hurt you. So you needed to see me devastated to realize you loved me. You needed to see me broken to understand what you were giving up. I needed to face the consequences of my choices. And now that you've faced them, you want to take it all back? I want to make it right. You can't make it right. You can't undo what you did. You can't undo the fact that you love her. I don't love her anymore. You don't stop loving someone in 2 weeks, Michael. You might have ended the relationship, but you don't stop loving them. Fine. Maybe I still have feelings for her. But I love you more. How do I know that? How do I know that in 6 months, when the guilt wears off and the novelty of being a good husband gets old, you won't start looking around again? How do I know that the next time you're bored or stressed or feeling unappreciated, you won't find someone else to make you feel interesting? Because I've learned my lesson. Have you? Or have you just learned to be more careful? I've learned that I don't want to lose you. You've already lost me. Em, please. I know I don't deserve another chance. I know I've hurt you beyond measure. But I'm asking you to consider it. For our daughter's sake. Don't use our daughter as an excuse. Don't pretend this is about her. This is about you not wanting to live with the consequences of your choices. I want to be a family. We will be a family. Just not the kind you're imagining. We'll be a divorced family. You'll have custody arrangements and visitation schedules. You'll come to school plays and birthday parties. But we won't be married. We won't be living together. We won't be pretending that what you did didn't happen. I can't accept that. You have to. What if I fight it? What if I contest the divorce? Then you'll be proving that you're exactly the selfish man I think you are. Because a man who truly loved me, who truly wanted what was best for me and our daughter, would accept my decision and work to make co-parenting as smooth as possible. I do want what's best for you. Then let me go. I can't. You have to. We sat in silence for a long moment, the weight of everything unsaid hanging between us. Around us, the coffee shop buzzed with normal life. People working on laptops, friends catching up, couples sharing dessert. I wondered if any of them were dealing with the kind of betrayal that had become my reality. I saw Sarah last week, Michael said finally. I told you I don't want to hear about her. She's leaving town. She got a job in Seattle. She's moving next month. Despite everything, I felt a stab of something. Not exactly sadness, but a kind of loss. Sarah had been part of my life for 8 years. We'd been through college together, early careers, my wedding, the beginning of my pregnancy. Now she was leaving, and I'd never see her again. Good for her. She wanted me to give you a message. I don't want to hear it. She's sorry. She's genuinely sorry for what she did to you. If she was genuinely sorry, she wouldn't have done it in the first place. People make mistakes, Em. 3 months isn't a mistake. 3 months is a choice. A choice she made over and over again. She knows that. I don't care what she knows. I don't care how she feels about it. I don't care if she's sorry or if she's moving to Seattle or if she's miserable. She made her choice. And what about me? What about my choice? You made your choice too. You chose her. You chose to lie to me. You chose to miss our daughter's ultrasound to be with your mistress. You chose to let me find out about the affair from overheard phone conversations instead of being honest with me. I'm trying to choose you now. It's too late. It's not too late. It's never too late. It is for me. I can't trust you anymore, Michael. I can't trust that you won't do this again. I can't trust that you're staying with me for the right reasons. I can't trust that you won't resent me for keeping you from the woman you really want to be with. I don't want to be with her. You ended it 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks, Michael. You were with her for 3 months, and you ended it 2 weeks ago. And now you want me to believe that you're over her, that you've processed your feelings and moved on? I'm trying to move on. Then do it. Move on. Build a life for yourself. Be the best father you can be to our daughter. But do it without me. I don't want to do it without you. That's not your choice anymore. What about forgiveness? What about second chances? I forgive you. I forgive you for being weak and selfish and stupid. I forgive you for lying to me. I forgive you for breaking our marriage vows. But forgiveness doesn't mean I have to stay with you. Doesn't it? No. Forgiveness means I'm not going to spend the rest of my life hating you. It means I'm not going to poison our daughter against you. It means I'm not going to make co-parenting more difficult than it needs to be. But it doesn't mean I have to trust you again. It doesn't mean I have to give you another chance to hurt me. I wouldn't hurt you again. You don't know that. You didn't think you'd hurt me the first time. I know myself better now. Do you? 3 months ago, you thought you knew yourself. You thought you were a good husband, a faithful man, someone who would never cheat on his pregnant wife. But you were wrong. So, how do I know you're not wrong now? Because I've learned from my mistakes. Have you? Or have you just learned to feel guilty about them? I've learned that I don't want to lose you. You've already lost me. The question is whether you're going to accept that gracefully, or whether you're going to make this harder than it needs to be. I'm not ready to accept it. Then you're not ready to be the co-parent our daughter needs. That's not fair. Fair? You want to talk about fair? Is it fair that I'm 24 weeks pregnant and facing single motherhood because my husband was sleeping with my best friend? Is it fair that I have to explain to our daughter someday why her parents aren't together? Is it fair that I have to start over completely while you get to walk away from the wreckage you created? I don't want to walk away from anything. Then don't. Be present for our daughter. Be the father she deserves. Pay your child support. Show up for school events. Be responsible and reliable and consistent. But do it from your own life, not from mine. I want to be part of your life. You are part of my life. You're the father of my child. But you're not my husband anymore. You're not my partner. You're not the person I turn to when I need support or comfort or love. I could be. No, you couldn't. Because I can't trust you anymore. And without trust, there's no relationship. Trust can be rebuilt. Can it? How long would that take? How many years would I have to spend wondering if you were telling me the truth? How many years would I have to spend checking your phone, questioning your whereabouts, looking for signs that you were lying again? I would prove it to you. How? By being faithful for a year, 2 years, 5 years. How long would I have to wait before I could trust you again? And what happens if you mess up during that time? What happens if you're late coming home one day and I immediately assume you're cheating? What happens if you get a text from a female colleague and I demand to see it? What happens if you want to go out with friends and I can't stop myself from wondering if you're really going where you say you're going? We'd work through it. No, we wouldn't. Because that's not a marriage. That's a prison sentence. For both of us. So you're just giving up? I'm accepting reality. The reality is that our marriage is over. The reality is that you love someone else. The reality is that I can't trust you anymore. The reality is that staying together would be worse for both of us than getting divorced. I don't accept that. You have to. What if I change? What if I prove to you that I can be the husband you deserve? Then you'll be a better man for the next woman you marry. But you won't be my husband. Em, please. I'm begging you, give me another chance. I can't. Why not? Because I love myself too much to accept less than I deserve. Because I love our daughter too much to raise her in a house built on lies and resentment. Because I love you too much to trap you in a marriage with someone you don't really want to be with. I do want to be with you. No, you don't. You want to be the kind of man who stays with his wife. You want to be the kind of man who does the right thing. But you don't want me. Not really. Not the way I deserve to be wanted. How can you say that? Because if you wanted me, you wouldn't have spent 3 months with Sarah. If you wanted me, you would have come to our daughter's ultrasound instead of meeting your mistress. If you wanted me, you would have ended the affair the moment you realized you had feelings for her. I was confused. You were selfish. There's a difference. I'm not selfish now. Aren't you? You're asking me to risk everything. My emotional well-being, my daughter's stability, my future happiness, to give you another chance. How is that not selfish? Because I love you. You love the idea of me. You love the idea of being married to me. But you don't love me enough to put my needs before your own. I'm putting your needs first now. No, you're not. If you were putting my needs first, you'd accept my decision and work to make this transition as easy as possible for me. You'd focus on being the best co-parent you can be, instead of trying to resurrect a marriage that's already dead. It's not dead. It is. It died the first time you slept with her. It died when you chose to lie to me instead of coming clean. It died when you missed our daughter's ultrasound to be with your mistress. It doesn't have to stay dead. Yes, it does. Because I'm not the same person I was 3 months ago. I'm not the naive woman who trusted blindly. I'm not the woman who believed that love was enough to overcome anything. I'm not the woman who would sacrifice her own well-being for the sake of keeping a marriage together. What are you now? I'm a woman who knows her worth. I'm a woman who won't accept less than she deserves. I'm a woman who's strong enough to raise a child alone rather than stay in a marriage built on lies. I'm proud of you for that. Then prove it. Let me go. Let me build a life for myself and our daughter. Be the co-parent she needs, but don't try to be my husband again. I can't promise that. Then you're not the man I thought you were. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm selfish and weak and stupid. But I'm also a man who loves his wife and wants to fight for his marriage. It's too late to fight for our marriage. The time to fight was 3 months ago, when you felt yourself falling for Sarah. The time to fight was when you were choosing between coming to our daughter's ultrasound and meeting your mistress. The time to fight was when you were lying to me every single day. I'm fighting now. Now you're just fighting the consequences of your choices, and I won't be collateral damage in your fight. You're not collateral damage. You're the prize. I'm not a prize to be won. I'm a person who deserves to be chosen freely, without reservation, without competition. And you didn't choose me. You chose her over and over again until you got caught. I'm choosing you now. It's too late. It's not too late. It's never too late. It is for me. We sat in silence again, the weight of finality settling between us. I could see in his eyes that he was beginning to understand that I meant what I was saying, that this wasn't a negotiation or a punishment, that this was simply the end. What happens now? He asked finally. Now we figure out how to be good co-parents. We work out custody arrangements. We divide our assets. We tell our families and friends that we're getting divorced. We learn how to be in each other's lives without being together. And what about love? What about it? I'll always love you. I know. And I'll always love the man I thought you were. But that man doesn't exist anymore. Maybe he never did. He exists. He's sitting right here begging for another chance. No, the